What's up, y'all? Welcome to a beautiful Easter weekend. And this weekend, The Dark Knight has risen. Today, we're going to talk The Dark Knight Rises, kind of like revisiting it and appreciating it. And here to join me is my good friend all the way from Finland. Please welcome Ellen Ariana. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It's Finland calling.
Yeah.
Like and a little bit of Eurovision starting.
And not like we didn't talk about this prior to, but like, how are you doing? How's everything going over there?
Pretty fine, believe or not. Like I say to Pac, that surprise, we don't have snow anymore. As somebody don't know, Finland is northern Europe. We are northern country. Something between Scandinavian, Slavic heritage country, far up in the north. Probably I think we still have the northern part of the Europe, if I remember right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so surprise, in the southern Finland, there is no snow anymore left. So spring has arrived just for Easter.
Yeah, spring has arrived. It's risen just like the Dark Knight.
Yeah, and if someone is asking, we have like 7 p.m. right now, so it's evening over here.
Yeah, East Coast, we're at 12, so it's noontime here. So I might have some people catching us in the replay, which is cool. But today, like I alluded to in my corny joke, we were talking about The Dark Knight Rises today. And this is something like we had planned a while ago, so it's nice to finally talk about this.
And as you all will find out why we're talking about it, because it's maybe an obsession of mine. So if someone is thinking why this is so like specific like topic.
Yeah. Well, from the thumbnail, we saw the crossplay of Hatsune Miku and Bane, which I think you did pretty well.
Still one of my favorites. And I'm so sad that I forgot to take the mask with me because it's in my parents' house and I was there just a few days ago. And I had a feeling like I have to take it with me. And of course, this happened.
Well, I guess you still have the boy though. He's still in the case, right, with the xenomorphs. Oh, you have him on there. Okay, cool. You decked out Bane. That's dope.
He's been partying with xenomorphs. That's why he is very fancy. You know, you have seen this is the same outfit that we put with the xenomorphs. I don't know. Of course, you cannot really. It's over there on the bottom. The girls are very sassy over there having their party.
That's so dope. Well,
so Bane is still at his best.
On the opposite side here, the bat's back is broken.
Woo!
Yeah. Before, like we that's awesome that you have him decked out in that gear still.
I knew that I have to bring him out for now. It was his pit over there with xenomorphs. I don't know if it's better or worse for the movie plot.
Now, before we talk about the movie, like before you saw this, did you watch Batman Begins and The Dark Knight prior, or?
Yes, it has been a little while that I've been, seeing the movies, but it was maybe end of the last year when they all came from the TV in Finland. There are those 3 movies that comes quite maybe twice in a year from the TV channels.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have quite fresh memory, and of course we are gonna talk about this later. But yeah, I have seen all the movies when they came.
When they first came out, before you saw this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Only reason
I have seen all the movies multiple times.
Okay.
Well, since when they came, and of course recently, like end of the last year, I think. Or maybe it was beginning of this year. But let's just say, yeah, I have seen them also recently. So I kind of remember.
Well, anything after like 2020, time kind of just blended in. We don't really know what year it is.
But yeah, this is a movie franchise that I have seen, like, also, I think almost all of them in theaters at the time, and also many times after.
Okay. Well, that leads us to the first thing. Like I was going to ask, like, do you remember like the first time you watched the film, and was it in theaters? And I guess you'd answer that. You already did. Like you saw it.
It's like what we were just talking about before we started the live. I've been Batman fan of like since 6 years old when the 60s Batman came through. That one.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know how many times they have been showing it in Finland, but I was 6 years old when they again showed the 60s Batman. It was in the 90s, by the way. I'm a 90s kid.
You somehow.
Yeah, it was my dad who saw that Batman in 60s, but in 90s they showed it again. So I saw it, and since then, of course, I saw the movies that came in the 90s, all the four of them, the Tim Burton ones, and then the Schumacher ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow as a kid you like those movies more.
Whoa. Wait, let me ask you this. That like, okay, so like the Tim Burton ones, we're gonna touch on this later, right? But like for the Tim Burton ones, are you saying you enjoyed it more as a kid more so than now? Like which one? Like I was asked, like, what do you like them still or no?
The Tim Burton ones I really like especially the second one. Now I'm forgetting the name.
Batman Returns.
Returns, yes, of course. Michelle Pfeiffer as a Catwoman is iconic.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I like the rest more, the Schumacher ones.
No way, really?
Because they were more campy and more kid friendly and colorful and everything. So as a kid, I like them more. But of course, nowadays, I understand that they were very cheap, like for franchise and selling stuff to kids.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting because I remember when those came out, after the Tim Burton one, Batman Forever, I was like, okay, that's fine. And then when it came to Batman and Robin, that was really campy. Like there was a scene where George Clooney's Batman just like jumped up like this, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, but I was very, very young at the time, so I couldn't, see those little flaws. And actually, was it Batman Forever, the one with Poison Ivy and...
It's Batman and Robin.
No, yeah, Poison Ivy, and of course the first version of Bane.
Yeah, that's the OG Bane. Yeah,
I really still love a lot of Uma Thurman with the Poison Ivy costume, and that's iconic. That's just beautiful. I kind of like the costume design, not the Bane. Not talk about the Bane.
Oh.
But Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, I really, really like her a lot.
Yeah, she did a good job. So the Bane one, yeah, I understand, but comic-wise, it looked like him. But
yeah, in that ways, he was a lot, because I have read the original Nightfall. So, but the only thing is that they kind of only took the outer side, but not what the character is about.
Yeah.
Well, so at least Poison Ivy was kind of herself in the way that she was actually Poison Ivy.
Yeah, and to an extent, Mr. Freeze was Mr. Freeze. I forgot Arnold. Yeah, Arnold was Freeze.
And some of his jokes are like, they're so campy that they're good.
Yeah, what killed the dinosaurs?
So over the top that it's kind of like, of course, when you don't take it as seriously as Nolan verse.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
as it is.
So when you saw this like in theaters, was it opening night you saw this, or was it like
the 90s movies I saw when they came in, in video form or in TV?
I meant The Dark Knight Rises. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, going forward to the 2000s, I remember that because I had a lot of hype for Batman because of these previous movies and so on.
Yeah.
I saw Batman Begins, at least, in the movie theaters. And at the time, of course, I don't remember. Do you remember what year it came?
Dark Knight?
The Batman Begins. What was the... 2000 and... Sorry. 5, yeah. I think I was just starting the... What is it? 7th grade? So I was like maybe 12, 13. I remember that the movie was okay, but it kind of surprised me that it was very dark, because before that, for example, I was a huge fan of the first Spider-Man movies.
Oh, you like the Raimi one? The Tobey Maguire ones?
Yes, I remember that I saw the first one in the movies, the first Spider-Man movie. So that's why I was kind of used to a little bit more colorful, lighter one. So this was the first time ever I saw actually like a dark superhero movie. Oh,
Edgy. Oh,
my bottles are decided to
oh.
party. But yeah, I was kind of surprised of the darkness and of course the seriousness of it all. And at the time, I wasn't familiar with Ra's al Ghul or all the characters there were.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, I didn't kind of get it. I mean, it was okay, nothing wrong with it, but at the time, I didn't appreciate it as much as, for example, now.
Yeah.
So that's why when the first movie came, I was like, there and there. But when The Dark Knight came, and we all know that The Dark Knight was a huge hit.
Really?
With, well, no shit.
No, I'm just...
Yeah, it's of course everybody loved it, and it's still, I would say that Dark Knight is still like one of the best superhero movies of all time, like in many levels, like. So, but I don't remember did I saw it in the movie theaters or not, because if I saw, I have no, like, I don't know why, but I don't have any memories of it. But
really?
Yeah, that I've been thinking about this because of course we were planning this for a while, and I was like thinking in my mind that did I saw it on the movie theaters or not, because I usually have at least like a small memory at least of like memory of a big screen or something, like, or who I was with there or something.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very baffled. Like, I don't remember. I think I was in high school when Dark Knight came. So I was, I was old enough to see it in a movie theater, because that would be another, reason why I'm not seeing it in a movie theater is if I'm too young.
Yeah.
But yeah. But let's just say that, of course, whenever I saw it, probably when it came as a DVD, if I didn't saw it in the movies, I was sold immediately, and it kind of like raised the whole, bar high up there.
Yeah.
So it kind of made, everybody was talking about it when Dark Knight came, and everybody was praising it, and I think I was a Joker girl for a moment. Like,
did you do the
I don't know if let's just say that I also found Harley Quinn at the time, and she's still one of my favorite, Batman characters. So I think I became also a very huge Harley Quinn fan at the time.
Around the same time. That's cool.
Yeah, because of course I was into like to know more about like Joker in comic books. I think I bought my first, Batman comic books at the time also, because I was, very interested, because I realized that Nolan is taking the stories very seriously and finding the darker side of the characters.
Yeah.
And I think also at the time the Batman comics went very dark. Joker had its very dark stories, death of the family, and those stories. So I think, and of course I was like an edgy teenager at the time, listening to the heavy metal music, and it was the time in Finland, like in general, heavy metal music was very popular, and this kind of thingies, and seeing girls and emo and so on was very hyped.
I think when this movie came out, I think it was that summer I had a mohawk, so it was like I understand it. I was like I was in college, taking photography, like edgy, yeah.
Like the Grinch.
So I guess I was asking, because like that was probably like one of the first premieres I ever went to was The Dark Knight, and I was asking like all this because like to me it's like embedded in my head. So like that was my first premiere I went to, and it was really like you just mentioned, it was very influential to a lot of generations. Even now, they're still making merchandise off Dark Knight. And I asked, like, I think going into Dark Knight Rises, I think there was kind of like a expectation. So
yeah, and I also, because of course I saw the Joker, and I was at the time thinking that, oh my god, this is the best movie. How can they ever make it better? Because it was actually very good. Like how you can actually end the trilogy with this one. And I remember that at the time I was getting into like Christopher Nolan's movies in general, like Inception. I think Inception came just before Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
So, and there was oh no, I'm trying to find the name. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Was it
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Inception, the guy from
yeah. What his other movie?
he was in Inception,
Yeah.
so I
Oh, yeah.
remember that I was kind of happy that he's going to be in The Dark Knight Rises.
Mhm.
So I knew him from there, and I was kind of like, okay, he's in the movie, so of course I want to see it because I was more in to see him in the movie. I think I had a little crush on him at the time or something because I was very interested to see
Because that was right
him.
around the time 500 days. Was it 400 days? 500 days of summer, I think, was before that. I think, yeah.
Oh yeah. But I remember that when I saw Inception and I was mind blown because of Inception because it's still one of my favorites, like as a movie. So I was kind of hyped to see the same characters or same actors in Dark Knight Rises, and I was really looking forward to Gordon-Levitt's performance. I didn't know like what character he's going to be and so on. But otherwise, when I saw the premiere photos of Catwoman, Bane, everything, I have to admit that before I saw the movie, I was kind of like, I don't know. And for example, Catwoman was kind of like off-putting for me because I was
Catwoman.
No, maybe because Michelle Pfeiffer was, she's still the best Catwoman ever, so it's
True.
for me.
So, because I kind of want to touch on it, but like, so you're, well, I like what Christopher Nolan did. Like, he made subtle things in the movie. Like, she didn't have the ears, but I did like how when she controlled, like her thing went back, you could see the cat ears. But I mean, it's hard to follow Michelle Pfeiffer, right?
Yeah, so that's why it was kind of like, at least the premiere photos of The Dark Knight Rises, they were not as, how we would say, sorry if my English is broken.
No.
I'm trying to say to the audience that, yeah, I'm finished. I tried to find the words after a long day.
It was underwhelming, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah. It's like, because, Dark Knight, Joker, everything was so up there. So all the premiere photos were like, I don't know if it's, even the Catwoman is so lame. Where is the very leathery outfit?
Oh,
Shiny one. So it was kind of, to be honest, I didn't have very big expectations when I went to the movie theaters at the time. I mean, I was just wanting to see how it ends, how Nolan wants to end it all. Because I understood at the time that it was kind of like only 3 movies and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I remember, because I'm glad you brought up Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like, there was a lot of fan theories, and being a huge nerd, like I remember I would read the boards back then. People were like, "Oh, I wonder if they're going to use him to shoot stuff as the Joker," because there was some resemblance to him and Heath Ledger and stuff like that. I was like, I don't think that's the case, but a lot of people were doing like fan theories about his role. Like, who would he be? I would agree that it was a little underwhelming. The trailer kind of sold me though when it finally dropped.
Okay, I'm not sure. Did I saw any trailers at the time? I remember that in Finland we have a big like a movie magazine called Episode. Surprise, surprise! Episode means episode. So I remember that there was like a many pages long, like an interview with the actors about the movie and everything, and I think I read it before the movie. But to be honest, I'm not sure did I saw, maybe in some other movies, when you go to the movies and see the other trailers before, I think I saw maybe those at some point.
Yeah.
But still at the time they didn't, made so much impress on me than I was kind of hoping for.
It was really hard to follow like the Joker and Dark Knight. I think that's
and when you hit the Joker era, it's like especially when you are when the Dark Knight Rises came, I was kind of 20-ish if I remember right. So I was already adult and left high school and graduated and so on. So wasn't anymore in the most edgiest era. But still, everybody who was hyped of Dark Knight, we all know how big impact, like as you said, how big impact it came.
Yeah.
Or was for our generation.
Yeah. And like for you, like you're saying, like the promotional shots were a little underwhelming. Like, what was your initial reaction after you first saw it? Like, did it completely change? I guess obviously it did, because now it's like one of your.
I would say that my obsession started almost immediately. I actually saw the movie like 2 times, and quite, I don't know, there was maybe a few weeks apart, but I saw, when it came to the movies, I actually saw it twice. So I'm not like 100%. Where are my memories? Like, did I fell in love in the first time or the second time? It's a little bit blurry.
Yeah.
But I try to now remember, like, when I was like young 20s and saw the movie. I remember that the whole movie, I was kind of like, yeah, Bane is like a very typical bad character, and poor Batman, blah blah blah. Now he's rising from the pits. And sorry, this is gonna be spoilers for everybody. So I hope everybody has seen the movie, because I'm gonna
13
spoil
years
a lot.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, here it comes. But maybe it was the first time. But when the big reveal came of Talia al Ghul, origin story of Bane, everything, I fell in love of the story. Like, it was maybe in the first ever, or maybe the second. I'm not like, I'm maybe mixing the memories.
Yeah.
But basically in a month, when I saw the 2 times the movie, I was it blown me away, because I wasn't expecting at all. And of course, for me, the good thing is that I didn't know about Ra's al Ghul a lot, his character or his daughter Talia.
Mm-hmm.
I was those people who didn't know at the time a lot about Ra's al Ghul's character history. So that's why the whole Talia thing was like very unexpected for me. And the fact that they made Bane as a sweetheart in a way, like, yeah, he was saving this little poor kid from the pits, and he got mutilated by the whole thingy, and he was like Tom Hardy sharing a little tear there and everything. I was like, oh my god, like I wasn't really expecting anything like that from the movie. I was so expecting it to be like, in like a Joker, he was bad all along, heartless, chaotic, so on, so on. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting Bane to be like this at all. So it really was a game changer, the ending for me.
He was still pretty bad, though.
And it caught me off guard, like completely. I was there like, oh. Watching it like, whoa.
This is interesting, because I don't think we've ever talked about like that.
Maybe not, I'm sure, yeah.
No, I didn't think it was like that was the reason why, like the switch, because I was surprised too when she was revealed as Ra's al Ghul's daughter.
Yeah.
But so that's what kind of like switched it for you, huh? Like when like the
yeah, because I came to the movie theaters to see the Gordon Levitt. But when I left, I was Tom Hardy fan.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck that guy. I like this new guy.
Wow. Okay.
And I think the second time I saw the movie, it make my like I started to like it even more. So I have a feeling that the first watch made me the switch, and then the second even like emphasize it. Whoa, the Bane
like
is trying to run away.
Like reassured it for you, like, okay, I really like this movie now.
Yes, and then of course when it came as a DVD, I bought it immediately, and yeah, then it has become many jokes, many memes, many things, and of course that's also, I think it's the starting of me being a Tom Hardy fan in general, because at the time I also started to watch of his movies, like where he was in and where he has been so far. So I think he also that was the moment that I found my favorite actor.
Wait, hold on, wait. Did you watch all the Venom movies?
Yes. Okay, I have seen all the Venom movies.
It's like, I respect that. You are a true fan.
Yeah, like I mean,
I would
can say that the first one was the best. And
what did you think of the third one? Like, I know this is off topic. What did you think of the third Venom movie?
3 out of 5, I would say. Like, I mean, it wasn't bad, but just a enjoyable movie, and that's it. At least for me. Like, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like it was a nice, touching ending, but nothing else plot-wise, I would say.
Yeah, I think I liked his portrayal as Eddie Brock. I wish he would have had some interaction with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but then they sent him back. But the only thing I noticed in that movie, something dropped again.
I just realized that Pikachu died.
Oh, he was the one that fell earlier.
He's the one that caused the. I guess it was the vase that was, he dropped it on the way. He fell off, but.
He's a soft plushie though, because if Galactus ever falls, it's a lot of stuff that's gonna go.
Sorry, I interrupt you. Please.
No, it's fine.
Go forward.
No,
I just realized that Pikachu was missing from the behind.
That's okay. No, I just noticed in the beginning of that Venom 3 movie when he was like, I'm sorry, this is spoilers. I don't know if anyone, but when he goes, I can't turn into the full Venom or else they're going to see me. I was just like, oh, they probably had a budget. They couldn't do the full CGI.
True. Now I just realized that it could be
I feel like those movies, it's I'm already grandfathered and I might as well watch the rest of them. So
yeah, it's and I understand that Tom Hardy, he's almost 50 years old, I guess. So it's kind of, for him, the franchise is, over. Mm-hmm. And what I understood that he's now working on Taboo season 2. So I think he also want to go forward in his, acting career in general.
Really all of his work.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of understand that he wanted to, graduate from Venom.
So it all started with Bane, though. So
yes,
that's fascinating. That was the reason why I asked. And I'm sorry to speak on this, but I guess a lot of comic purists really preferred the luchador introduction of Bane, but I still appreciate Nolan's take on it because I think Nolan's trilogy really liked to keep everything grounded.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What was your first impression of the Dark Knight Rises, if you remember?
I remember actually, out of the movie, I was I think that was a good successor to the Dark Knight. It was unfair because having to follow that was hard. But I remember it was sad seeing Batman get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
I wanted him to beat up Bane after that. But as an impression, I thought he was pretty good. I initially was shocked at that, swerve with Talia actually being the one in charge of this whole plan. In some ways, I kind of felt like it. Hearing your perspective, it's a different take. But back then, I was like, oh, they kind of took away from Bane's impact as this mercenary, really Talia. But I guess on your point of view, it's it's actually he's a sweetheart.
I mean, it created more tones to him, because it, otherwise he would have been just very cold mercenary who is just doing his duty.
Yeah.
Blindly. Of course, he was blindly following League of Shadows anyways, but kind of it gave him more motivations and actually what I found out is that there was actually more footage of his, background.
Really?
In League of Shadows and so on. And I think it would have made things even better, to explain, because right now the explanation was quite quick in the movie. It's Talia appears and explains everything very quickly to Batman and everybody's in a shock and little tears and so on.
Yeah.
So I felt, of course, I understand the reason why Nolan probably took things out, because I guess he didn't want to make Bane too empathetic character, people would be too much, understanding him because of course he's a villain.
Yeah.
But of course, I would loved those parts in the movie.
Are those parts in the DVD bought?
No, there's only interviews with at least the costume designer, if I remember right, and someone else maybe. But yeah, there was actually some footage made, but I guess they are never released anywhere. What I've understood, I would have found them.
It was with he had also unreleased footage of Heath Ledger's Joker that I think it's good on Christopher Nolan. He says got respect for his family. He's never going to release it. But I think recently Heath Ledger's dad released some stuff that Heath Ledger used as inspiration for his Joker, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
But I would totally pay to see some of those unreleased footage of both Bane and Joker.
Yeah, I would really love to have anniversary package or something coming out with like behind the scenes more or some deleted scenes, other ideas what they had in mind or something.
Mhm.
Like the whole, because I know that Nolan has probably a lot of ideas for all the 3 movies, so it would be fun to see, like, for example, they had an idea that if Heath Ledger would have been alive,
Mhm.
there was ideas for Joker for the 3rd movie.
Okay, so I'm curious because what was that? Because I've read some, and I'm wondering if we both read the same nerdy like fan fiction stuff. What was the?
If I remember right, it was something that Joker was not going to be like a main character at all, but he was going to be, or he was doing the same as the Scarecrow is doing in the Dark Knight Rises. So he was kind of be the mad judge.
Oh, like an Arkham, like yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's
like
kinda like what I
say
read.
exile or death,
Yeah,
like the Scarecrow is doing in the movie.
yeah.
So it was his part, but because Heath Ledger died, they move it, or they moved the character to be Scarecrow from
Which
the first movie.
that was one of my favorite ones, like with him returning, Cillian Murphy
Yeah,
being Scarecrow again,
I
and
kind of love that he was tying up all up, and the Scarecrow was actually all the movies.
yeah, he was in all 3 of them.
He was like a returning character. I
He's
love that for Cillian Murphy.
he's like one of those actors that's always like you can guarantee he's going to be in a Nolan movie. Like if a Nolan movie comes out, Cillian Murphy's going to be in there. Yeah,
Yeah, it's and I love that, of course he's, acting career starting from, he was in Inception with Nolan and the other guys, and then in Batman, and then he was Oppenheimer.
yeah. I like when he had Jim Gordon's like Death or Exile. He's like, fine. He's like death by exile, and like when you go to exile, you're pretty much killing yourself because you're on ice. Like I thought that was a clever thing, but it's just like it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and I really like that they saved the character somehow, or someone to be like the mad judge.
Yeah,
Of course, it's shame that it wasn't Joker, but yeah, what I understood was that Joker wasn't going to be quite big character anymore, more like a small side character in the whole thing. So yeah, there wasn't going to be any like a Joker 2 movie.
right.
That's something that I read about the
Yeah,
alternative.
I think that was the same thing I had read too. It's like he wasn't going to be the main focus, but I think as good as Dark Knight was, I think a lot of it was scrunched together because I think Two-Face was originally supposed to be saved for the 3rd movie.
Ah, okay. That's the thing that I'm not sure how I heard about it.
The reason why is like I think if you look at the flow of the movie, it just he captures the Joker, he gets arrested, then all of a sudden it deals with Dent and Commissioner Gordon's family. Like he gets right into that and just kills off Harvey Dent right away,
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. But do you have like other favorite like moments from Dark Knight Rises? Like in addition to
I think I have almost all of them. It depends on the season.
really?
I mean, like, actually, because that's the movie that I watch the most. It's like those movies that when you just want to have something on the background, some background noise. Dark Knight Rises is the movie, and recently I was watching the clips from YouTube, and of course there's I like to read the comments what people are saying from the different clips. I mean, sometimes they're awful, but there's the Bane speech in the pit where he says to Batman, Bruce Wayne, that you're gonna rot in here, you're gonna watch the TV when I'm torturing your whole city.
Yeah.
And so on. And the way Tom Hardy's acting there and talking, the Bane's monologue of everything, people were actually pointing out very like good, or like I would say very powerful things about his acting, like how Bane behaves in the situation, like the way that he's almost like emotional in the pit, and kind of like that Bane knows that he's sending Bruce Wayne basically the same fate that he had,
to like rot away in the pit.
Yeah, like watching the skies and realizing there's no hope. that you're watching, like that you could climb there, but you cannot, because he never escaped, as he says in the movie. So the way he acts and talks and watch the skies, and the way Tom Hardy uses his voice, it's very clever, because it kind of shows and it kind of reveals to Bruce Wayne that he is not the child who ran away. So I love that the whole movie is kind of telling Bruce Wayne that, hey, Bane is not the child. He's not the child of Ra's al Ghul. But Bruce is not catching things.
Well, I didn't catch it until now. Like I've watched it a dozen times, but I don't think as much as you. But like I never caught that. There was what is he specifically alluding? Oh, I guess because he rotted away and he never got out of the pit, right? So
yeah, because he's kind of Bane. He kind of in the battle, the first battle with Batman.
Mhm.
He's, if I remember right, he's also in there hinting a little bit of like that. That he's been living just in the shadows, and especially in the pit scene, he's kind of, the way he talks, he's telling that, there was no hope for him. Like, yeah, he learned that there's no hope. So it's kind of, he never escaped in a way. Like, it's still in his head, I would say. So it's kind of, damn, I don't remember. There was a very nice conversation in YouTube comment section about this. I just don't remember how people were talking about it anymore. But yeah, the way that he's acting there, and we're being like a slightly emotional, even the way he speaks, it kind of reveals to Batman that maybe he wasn't the child who ran away. And even the other one, now I remembered that, the prisoners are telling the story to him, to Bruce Wayne.
The doctor and the like fixed.
Yeah, and the random prisoner who is kicking the spine back to the place.
Yeah.
So that guy, he's also kind of hinting Bruce Wayne that no, Bane is not the child. He's kind of like, Bruce Wayne is just he's making assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
And the prisoner is kind of like, like, his face is kind of like, not revealing. So it's kind of, even him is not kind of, no one is kind of saying to Bruce Wayne that, yeah, Bane was the child. No one is saying to him. He's just assuming all the time that, yeah, it's Bane.
Huh, so there was, well, that's the brilliance of the writing, because here I am 13 years later learning this. I didn't even notice that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so, and these are the things that I've been interested to see, like what people are saying of these scenes. So it's nice to see that people are catching different things, and I'm also like, oh yeah, now when you're saying it, I can see it. So this has been the one thing that I've also realized just recently, that nobody said to Bruce Wayne that Bane was the child, but Bruce Wayne just make assumptions.
Yeah, we all did, right? Because
but even though the whole movie is trying to tell that, Bane was kind of like, he was still prisoner in his mind. Mm-hmm. And even the other prisoners were like, no, we didn't say it was Bane. Like, But of course, they were probably told not to say Talia's name or anything aloud. So that's why.
Yeah.
Because one thing, I don't know if you have noticed, but none of the henchmen or the Bane's, what is it, like a soldiers, none of them says Bane's name out loud.
They don't? I thought. Oh no.
Talia is the only one who says Bane's name out loud.
And why is that then? It's, I guess, to.
I was thinking that maybe because the power dynamic in League of Shadows, and Bane is very feared, and the whole movie is pointing out that he's so terrible, and everybody's respecting him so bad that they're doing everything that he says. So if he has told them not to say his name aloud, or if they are fear of his name, like a Voldemort,
Oh, and she's the only one that has, and she's the only one that's actually naming him,
because of course Talia is equal to Bane.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of equals, but everybody else is lower to them. So it's kind of hierarchy in a way.
That's true.
And even in the first scene, the guy who is sending the prisoners to the CIA, he's even like, he was working for the mercenary, the masked man. And then the CIA guy is like, Bane? And then the Barsad is like, like Like he cannot even say. He's just nodding and being like smiling a little bit because I guess it was the point that he's kind of like being...
You know what really caught me in that scene where he goes, he's like, he didn't like, he's pretending to shoot him, right?
Yeah.
That's one guy, and then like, sorry, this is really bad. He's like, oh, he's wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him off the plane. Like, it was like I never caught, it caught me in the first. I was like, yeah, it's true. Why would you shoot him if you're just gonna throw him off the plane?
I just love that they're kind of like the League of Shadows at that scene. They're all, like already ahead of everything, and they know that they're gonna win the whole thing, and they're just toying with CIA, and the CIA guy is like, he tries to be a tough guy, and
the dude stayed behind. He's like, they'll need one of us to stay behind. And he's just like,
yeah, and that guy is like, okay, let's go.
He falls down with the rest of the plane. That was pretty. That like shows their loyalty and fear, I guess, immediately.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What I'm like saying, that's why they probably don't even want to say his name, because they are so loyal and they are sticking to the plan. That. Yeah, that's kind of like the way they are showing, and that's why it makes sense that even the Barsad, who is the first guy for Bane, even he cannot say it. Like he's probably like the most loyal dude in the whole company. But like...
Yeah, it's funny because when he comes to Gotham, remember he hires like henchmen in Gotham, but like he stupidly brings Gordon back to their lair. He's like, "Why are you here?" He's like, "Talk." He's like, "No, I'm talking to you. Why did you bring him here?" And then he
I love how genius is. That's the way how Nolan is showing what kind of power and how much people fear Bane, and how Bane can be like I just love how he can be like, he's just doing his task. He don't care anything else. He don't even use voice, like a lot of voice. He's kind of speaking very calm and slow, and kind of like he's not raising his voice in any time.
Yeah,
he's kind of like, oh goddamn, here we go again. You guys messed up, now die.
Yeah. He's like,
so it's like a genius way to how Nolan shows what kind of person Bane is.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't really raise his voice, but it's when he first fights Batman, and all he says is like, he's like, I was wondering when.
I was wondering who would break fast.
Your body.
Spirit, all your body.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I was trying to remember the dialogue because you're talking about how he kind of hinted. He's like, you merely adopted the shadows. I was born in it, molded by it. So then I guess that also alludes to
life until I was already man.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes. Sorry, I'm stupid. Just like reminding me that. Okay, so he was a man,
a
child that escapes. Yeah, it makes sense now.
Yeah. Even there, he's hinting something like, he saw the light when he was a man.
But you know what I like about that fight, the first one? You can kind of see what kind of it got to Bane when he goes, you're excommunicated by the League of Shadows, and they do a zoom in Bane's face for a second. He was kind of like pissed off. They just started beating him, like hitting him with body shots after that.
Yeah, it's like, point taken. Yeah. You're very true, but let's.
And then he just smashes his his mask. That was crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of, this is something that people have pointed out, that Bane kind of acts that like a Batman is like a very powerful opponent for him, like a boss battle or something, that he's kind of respecting it in a way. Yeah. But like of course he's like Batman is enemy to him, but he's not like it's just his task. It's like a boss battle you have to go through in the way that
you just have to do it. Yeah.
You're kind of appreciating it because, of course, Bane knows that Batman has the same training as he has, because Russell Gould was training both probably. So it's like a worthy opponent. The levels are high.
It hurt seeing him get his ass kicked. I was like, damn, he really got beat up by Bane. In my head, I was like, man, if this was 5 years ago during the Dark Knight, he probably would have. Because by then, I think he was like a couple years removed from being Batman, and then he returned.
Yeah, it was like 8 or something, like 8 years. I guess it was 8 years. I have seen the movie so many times, so I'm pretty sure it was 8 years.
No, this one. My favorite's when he sees the doctor. He's like, "There's no cartilage. That's good." I was like, "No, there's no cartilage in your knee, so I don't recommend you go." It was like extreme skiing or something like that.
Yeah. So it's like. And of course, I can imagine that Bane was probably a little bit disappointed that Batman was so bad shape.
It's like you fight like young man.
Yeah, he's been bulking himself like every day, having like a Batman picture somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, when you're leveling up your Pokemons for the next gym, and then they're like over
All out.
leveled.
You don't even have to like, use all of them. You just have one knocking them all out.
Yeah, like Bane was there with potions and everything, and then he's just KO'd Batman. Like, I can imagine he was like slightly disappointed after the day.
He's like, that was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can, because I think you told me that it's like you're like watching with your sister, but like you could recite the whole movie pretty much if it's on, right? Like you watch it. Yeah. It's kind of like me for like Infinity War. I've seen Infinity War so many times, but I think same thing
you
for
can drop like quotes everywhere.
Yeah. Did you like the stock exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, when he came in there and they're like, "Why are you here? There's no money." And he's like, "Really? Then why are you people here?"
Yeah, it's like one of the most iconic, and like, of course, because in a way, like even Nolan have said that the whole movie is not political. I love that those are the scenes where are kind of showing like a little truths of society, I would say. I love that how Bane is showing the problems of Gotham, like what is wrong. Of course, all the movies are showing what is wrong with Gotham as a city or like a system or whatever, or government or whatever. So it's like, it's one of the good parts of the movie when you can see like what is his idea of the world, and it's kind of hinting also the League of Shadows thingy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if it's now after, like, what is it, over 13 years later? I guess.
13.
Yeah, it was 2012. Finglish coming up. Yeah, so it's kind of, I would say, like nowadays it's maybe a little bit cheesy, some of the dialogues in that scene, but still, of course, Bane kicking ass of stock market people. It's kind of like, especially nowadays, it's like, yeah.
Oh, I like that, because that was when you saw Batman Return, like during that chase against the mercenaries.
Yeah.
But it sucked because I remember it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. I think it was Blake, and then Commissioner Foley. And it was like Bane's just driving right by. He's like, "Should we stop him?" He's like, "No."
Yeah.
He killed Dent. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also a very genius scene for Blake, and you know, especially showing the Batman like he's rising, and all the police force is kind of like, what? It's him? Like, they don't even know what to do. They're kind of confused. Like, what the fuck? He's back. Why now?
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is like, he's armed and he's just like, and what? You're not? 80 cops around him and they're all refusing to shoot him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then suddenly, like, of course, they're first expecting him to just be in that very awesome motorbike, like running away, and then suddenly comes like a, what is called, like an airship, or
I know the thing was called the Bat Pod. I don't remember what the thing was called. The like
like a bat bot is kind of it's the name, but I was thinking is what is like a military name for the thingy. I guess Lucius is saying it at some point.
No.
But yeah. Anyways, I love how Batman is kind of showing off for them. Like,
yeah,
just in the moment they thought they could go off Batman, and then he's like with the airship and everything, like blinding lights and.
Oh yeah, because he got cornered at the end of the street.
Yeah,
lines him with the line.
Yeah, just run away. Wee, flies everywhere. Even the Bane is kind of like, okay. when he's saving Catwoman from the roof.
Yeah.
Later.
And then she leaves, and he's like, "Oh, that's what it feels like."
Yeah.
I like. I saw this recently. Somebody made a meme or like something. They said, "I like how it took Alfred a 5-second clip of Bane being like, yeah, you can't fight this dude,' because you remember he's like, look at his movements, look at his timing. It's like, you got no shot."
He's been like, no, don't do it. Yeah, of course, for Alfred, I guess he knew that Bruce is in so bad shape. Like he's saying to Bruce Wayne that, hey, you haven't been in the game for a while and you have given them because of course the things that happened in the previous movie was kind of traumatizing. He lost his girlfriend Rachel,
Yeah.
and they made villain of Batman. Like everybody was hating him at the time, so of course Alfred was trying to be a dad and being like guarding his only son in the way that like, please don't kill yourself, I love you too much.
How did you feel when he like finally told him? He's like, what if I told you she wrote a letter saying she chose Harvey over you? I'm like, oh.
It was very emotional. Of course, you knew that it's gonna come in this movie, that because they show it in the last movie that what he's doing with the letter.
Yeah.
So it was very touching. I remember it was very touching. I don't know if I cried, but like it felt in a heart that like, and I love the way they kind of built Alfred as a character. Like he's getting more and more like, how you would say, the way they show his emotions towards Bruce, like that I really love you as a family member, even though I'm your servant, I'm your butler.
Yeah. Like
but
emphasize
still,
that's always
I care you so much that I would rather say that just let the others do it, or let the Bane destroy all the Gotham, but please don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
So I really love how Nolan also uses Alfred's character, because in some Batman movies Alfred is kind of, he usually gives very nice advices and so on, but sometimes he's more in the shadows, or being that old wise man.
Yeah. Yeah, because from what I know him, it's just from like the animated series, just like the Butler.
Yeah. I have seen some of the 90s animated series also, and I also like him a lot in there. But yeah, this was also a very good take from Nolan of Alfred's character.
Yeah. Well, do you have like I guess, do you have like who's like a character that you think like your favorite one from this movie besides Bane? That's like
I was almost like, can you guess?
Okay, never mind. So Bane is your favorite. I guess you can expound more upon that if you wanted to, but like I guess we'll draw the next one. Then like, who do you think doesn't get enough credit in this movie?
I think so many different characters. Like one thing, because I just said that I didn't like Catwoman or Selina Kyle at the time. But I think I have grown to like her. Appreciating her, Selina Kyle, Catwoman, much better than, of course, at the time when I saw her. Yeah. So it's I think Anne Hathaway did very solid performance. Also, like Bruce Wayne, I forgot the actor's name. I don't know why.
Christian Bale?
Yes, Christian Bale. Yeah. I also think he also did very solid, like a performance in whole, and also showing the pain and everything of Batman, what he was suffering through the whole movie. He was basically suffering all the time, emotionally or physically.
And very prideful, right? Like
yeah. And even like with Commissioner Gordon, I think they gave him a very nice, solid plot. I think everything did quite well in the end. I cannot even like think like someone like who would stand up, because I think everybody ended their like a character in a good way. Like they did all they could do.
It was a good like overall, like I guess as a collection very well, like in terms of their performance. Yeah.
Do you have any like favorites of the like which were your favorite characters from the movie?
I mean, favorite still always Batman, the Batman mark, right? But I think someone that doesn't get enough credit is, I don't know, I've told this to my friends, Ben Mendelsohn, I think is just designed like John Hamm to play like a jerk in a movie. He's the one that played Roland Daggett. And like,
yeah.
It was very short-lived, but I think like he played the role like well, that like he was that typical corporate exec for Wayne Enterprise you really hated. Like he wanted to be control of it, and then he thought because of his financial situation he was in control of Bane and that whole thing. But then you ended up seeing what happened. He's just like, that's a badass line from Bane. He's like, do you feel in charge? And he's like this.
yeah. It's one of the best scenes from the movie, that they are again showing the Bane's character
made me terrified of him. Like, damn, because remember he goes, yeah, he talks to his like henchman Shriver. He's like, stay, I'm in charge, and that's he's like, you feel in charge? He's like, go, and then you just hear him cracks.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
And the performance in that scene is like on the top from the both of them, like the way they're acting and the fear coming out and everything in the scene. It's like phenomenal.
Yeah. Made you scared of him, actually.
Yeah. It's like, it feels real. It feels actually real. Like, oh my God, this is kind of like a threat.
Yeah. He was just such a jackass. Because remember, he was like, hey, can we get some more women down here? He was just such a jerk. And then when
I would say like the villains are also, I mean, actually the only one that is kind of underwhelming is Talia itself. Like,
okay, cool. I was like, I hope I wasn't the only. Yeah.
By the way, I'm thinking, should I put lights on? I don't know if I'm too like, I was now born in the dark, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to, but it goes with the theme. It's the dark.
Yeah, just in a second, I try if I put like the light on the back.
Yeah, it's cool. I see Muse chilling in the background. Muse chilling in the background.
Yeah. It's in the... Hiding everything with the Pokemons. Is that too bright right now?
No, I think you're fine.
I can also put this little bit so it's not shining the light. Now I'm like...
You want me to turn my light off? Yeah, the light's risen.
Now everybody can see Pikachu's butt. Oh no, Alien and Wooloo are guarding his ass over there. This is censored, kid friendly. But yeah, I was talking that actually, Talia al Ghul, Miranda Tate. I mean, interesting character. I'm not saying she's not like a bad character, and we all know that the death was. Yeah, it's underwhelming.
Okay,
the death of Talia al Ghul is like she have even told herself, the actor, that she didn't nail the thing.
Could you do your best impression of her death scene?
Yeah, it's kind of like there was like an interview about the scene, and she was like, "Yeah, I know, I fucked up." Like it.
What?
She knows it wasn't the best.
If you were to reenact it, how did it go? She's just like,
yeah, like.
Okay, so that I guess that leads me to this like part. Like, is there some parts, because I know you're very fond of this movie, there's some parts you didn't like about it, and I guess that's one of them. Do you have like another?
Yeah, it's the death scene especially. Also, kind of like, I don't know about the Bane's death. Like,
oh yeah,
like in a way, I like that it was so like poof, that's it. Like not hero death or something like that. In a way, I like the move, but still, I feel like the main villain's deaths were like, I don't know. I have grown into them, but still not my favorite. It would have been done better.
I would have had Bruce kill him. Well, I guess he doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
Like, because it's just Selena blasting him with the bat pod, and it's just like, But
yeah, I kind of understand that after especially so heroic backstory of like Bane being a cinnamon bun, saving little kids from being, I don't know what horrible things they would have done to Talia as a kid. But I kind of understand that they didn't want to make him like too heroic and give him like too much time to be killed or something like that. So it was kind of like, poof, now he's dead.
Just a quick death.
Yeah, so in a way I understand it now, but still, it has been many years that I was like, I don't know, still could have been something else.
Yeah. My favorite though from that was, I wish we would have seen him go more ballistic, like when he took one of his tubes off and he just started punching away, and like you remember like when he was just like smashing the cylinder. Like, I want to see like how much stronger he is, because he was just breaking the hell out of that cylinder when he was fighting Batman.
Yeah. And this is also one thing that people have pointing out, that how calm Bane is almost every scene, except in that one, because he's panicking first time ever in the movie because he realized he's not in control of the things are happening, because of course he knows that if the mask breaks, all the whatever, I don't know, is it venom or what is it, painkillers or something, pain
Yeah.
relief, that he is out of it and so on. So yeah, I like how they're showing it, but I don't know, in that scene it could have been more or something. Yeah, the whole like ending is kind of like in the way that it could have been more. And of course, because I said about the backstory that wasn't there, or the extra footage, that's also something that I wish would have been like. I like the idea that they would have explained Bane's backstory more, because now it was kind of very fast
Kind of
reveal.
kind of treated him like a side character at that point
Yeah,
because
yeah. So yeah, the ending is not the best, I would say. Even though it's like the turning point for me, still like I can criticize it as, yeah, it could be more.
Right. No, I agree. I, I'm just like because obviously, sorry, it's on brand. I'm just like I'm a huge like Hulk fan. So when I saw like Bane like just going ballistic at the end, that was pretty much like one of my. I wish he would have seen more of that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was just there was corny, like you said, corny dialogue. Like I kind of thought it was cheesy how she goes to Blake. She's like, "You should use your middle name. I like that better, or your real name, Robin." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah, it's like after seeing it many times, I can say that it's some of the like like dialogues are a little bit cheesy, a little bit dramatic. Of course, because it's a superhero movie, it has to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, some things are a little bit corny, so I give it that. And also like the Robin thing, I like that they bring Robin in. It was nice. I love that Blake had something more than just being like a one police officer and a helper of Batman, because it's kind of hinting in the way that he could be Robin or something like a sidekick
Yeah.
for Batman.
But
it would have been nice to see it more.
To be more of like a side. Well, I thought like because that was a good ending for them because he gave him the. I mean, spoilers. He didn't die, but like he gave him the directions to the Batcave, right? And he was supposed to take up the mantle as Batman. Would you have liked to have seen him like continue on with that? Like,
At the time, I was kind of excited to see, because yeah, I liked Gordon Levitt, and I have always liked Robin as a character, like a Batman character. So yeah, at the time I was kind of into. Maybe nowadays I'm like, yeah, I understand why Nolan, for him, trilogy was enough. No more movies. Then he moved on in the acting, directing career. So now I accept that he doesn't want to do more of the franchise. But at the time, I was kind of like, this would have been nice to see, like a side movie or Robin series.
I would have loved I mean, it wouldn't have been the timing probably would have been different, but like a Batman Beyond type of thing would have been cool, just because that's what but yeah, and I thought that was kind of clever how he left it open. So like if they wanted to continue, there's your use him. But yeah, I thought Bruce died like when he took the nuke out to the water. And
Yeah.
then they hint at Alfred's dream of that he sees Bruce, and yeah, that was a nice touch.
Yeah, maybe one thing that was kind of, now when I'm thinking about the ending, the one thing I don't like, and that's the time in the movie, because I guess when Talia is saying Batman something like Gotham has only 8 minutes, and that's ridiculous.
Oh, because it took like 30 minutes for that final scene.
Yeah, like that's the only thing that bothers me a lot in the ending, besides the villain ends.
Yeah.
Like I hate that the movie is making the time like something that is not possible, because otherwise it's very realistic movie, movie series, realistic Batman, realistic villains in general, and then it's like, yeah, Gotham has only 8 minutes and you have a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, this is so impossible to Batman first kill Talia, chase her, and then take the nuclear bomb and bring it all the way to the, like, far away to the ocean, that no one can get harmed, because of, we all know how the nuclear bombs work.
And he escapes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that he even is alive. So this is the only thing that still bothers me so much of the 8 minutes, minutes or something, 11 or 8. I'm not sure, but basically 10 minutes ish. So
Well,
that's
like
the thing that I'm still like salty about. Like, no.
like the last, what is it? I'm probably time's off. Like the last like 30 seconds is spent like 8 minutes of him taking it off the truck and then going out.
Yeah, it's like uh,
It's kind of like
that's the one thing that bothers me still. That's something that I cannot accept. Never.
have you seen like Winter Soldier?
Unfortunately, not.
Oh,
To be honest, yeah.
I don't know if you have any plans. I'm sorry for spoiling this, but there's a
No
fight scene
worries.
where the helicarrier is falling, but this fight scene lasts about 30 minutes. I'm like, this thing should have already fallen down. Like, it's kind of similar in that vein, yeah.
Yeah, like all the Dragon Ball fighting scenes lasting like 20 episodes
Yeah.
and being like a 5 minutes in real time.
It's funny. It's like, yeah, we're about to fight, and then pause on the next episode of Dragon.
Yeah. So maybe I would say that in Dark Knight Rises, the thing that I don't like the most is the timing in general, like how things go time wise. It
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
it makes sense in some points and so on, and of course Batman curing from like a very bad back pain in what it was like 5 months or something. What it was that he
Yeah,
was
like,
in the pit.
fixes his back and he's doing sit-ups already, and he's like doing push-ups.
Yeah. That's the other thing that I would love that they would have, have more time, because it's still, you could make it through, like Batman being like even a year away and then coming back and just saying that Gotham has only 13 minutes. Even that's enough, or feels like, okay, 30 minutes is quite a small time in the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, of course, this is those movie things. We all know those movies where it's like, yeah, the bomb is alarm in 4 minutes, and
Like, okay, this is about to be a 40-minute scene.
yeah. So it's the timing is, and of course, you can feel that it was a little bit rushed, like it, because it's a long movie. They had to cut a lot of things away, so
Yeah.
you can kind of feel that there was maybe like cut some important things there and there. For example, the Bane's footage. So it's it's not a perfect movie, but still I appreciate it in many levels, and it's my favorite even from Dark Knight.
Okay, so I was gonna ask, where would you rank this out of the trilogy? So you're putting this number one out of the three of them.
Yes, like
Really?
of course I'm a art critic as a profession also.
Yeah.
Besides being tattoo artist, so I'm an art critic because I've graduated from aesthetics. So I know that I should put Dark Knight to the top, and of course the art critic inside me would say that yeah, Dark Knight is the best, but no, I'm a crazy fan, so that's why Dark Knight Rises.
No, it's subjective too. So I mean, that's your opinion, yeah. So okay, so you put Dark Knight Rises, and I guess Dark Knight number 2, and then Batman Begins.
Yes,
okay.
But I have to say that because I have get into the whole trilogy, I now appreciate Batman Beyond more. Now I understand what is the purpose of the whole movie, and it's kind of brilliant to start the whole plot that is going to the Dark Knight Rises and everything. So they work very nice together as a pair.
Oh, that's
and the Dark Knight is kind of like a side story. Right now, it feels like Dark Knight is kind of like a side story when Russell Ghul is in the first one, and then Talia al Ghul in the third one, and yeah, there was just a subplot of Joker.
Yeah, I think I think the first one was like, I guess, the origins of the League of Shadows, right? And Ra's al Ghul's plan. I like to think of like Dark Knight as like exposing like corruption within Gotham, like even the good guys, like the cops or the DEA. Yes. The DEA. But then then Dark Knight Rises is like the whole thing come together.
Yeah. So in the way, it's a good trilogy, and I think Nolan did very solid work with all of the movies.
I always like to think of his movies as timeless, because I think you can watch them in any time and it still holds up, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's very true. There's of course, there's some technology wise, some things are outdated and so on, but still, it's not like timeless pretty much, and still one of the best superhero movie trilogies made.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Of course, you can say a little bit more because you know a little bit more of the superhero movies.
No. I my list is kind of like, I'll just switch. I'd put Dark Knight Rises, then Batman Begins third. But I think lately, like last couple of years, I think I've developed more of an appreciation for Batman Begins. Yeah, I think that first movie didn't really do as well as the others because I don't think people knew what to expect. Like you said, it was a
Yeah.
more gritty, darker version. What's funny about that, I didn't watch that in the theaters. I watched it in the when that movie came out, I was in the Philippines visiting relatives, and they had like bootleg copies, and they were playing it on the streets. I was like, "Yeah, let me just watch this."
Did you saw the other ones in the theaters or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said the premiere. Yeah.
Dark Knight was the first one I ever saw in the theaters, like a midnight premiere, and then Dark Knight Rises. I didn't see it in the premiere, but I saw it the next night, and it was still packed, and it was a lot of people. I don't know. Do you have any like final thoughts about the movie or about it as a whole that you'd like to share, like your appreciation?
There are so many things I would like to. I'm like the meme guy with like all the maps and papers and pointing it out.
Oh, Charlie
like
from
Maniac
cigarette in his hand. He's like, yeah.
I think we need like a second episode just for me analyzing Bane from every scene. Me and my monologue of like a PowerPoint presentation of Bane and why it's the best character.
Yeah, we'll do that next time. I'll argue that the Joker is, and you'll say that Bane is.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say that it's a good starting to why I started to like Tom Hardy as an actor in general. He's doing like, I mean, everybody's of course appreciating Heath Ledger. Of course, he was very good as Joker, like phenomenal. But I think so many people don't see how much Tom Hardy made just with his eyes and voice. So it's a kind of underappreciated, and I feel that when I read like comments, so many people come back like years later and saying like, "Damn, I didn't appreciate him that much, but now I can see." When I see like a small clips of there and there different scenes, people are really like analyzing them and realizing that, God damn, that dude is only using his eyes and voice and being like like the pit scene, showing Bane's emotions and all the little tear and everything that he's doing. It's kind of that he's threatening the Daggett and everything. It's kind of, I feel it's not appreciated enough. His work in this movie. Because Heath Ledger was so good.
It was hard to follow that. Did you ever hear like the original like voice, like how he was supposed to sound?
Yeah, of course. Here's the thing: in Finland, we have subtitles because we were actually talking about dubbing and subbing in Finland. I would say all the movies that are watching people over 10 years old, they are always subbed. So we don't dub almost anything. Like in European countries, people usually dub even the adult movies, like in Germany and everything. But in Finland, we use subtitles. So in this case, it was whatever, because we could read the subtitles that what Bane is saying. And usually the subtitles are very, like a loyal to the actual things that actors are saying. But to be honest, when I heard was it the IMAX version or the one that he was more mumbling?
It was more mumbling, and then I think they had gotten feedback about that. Then that's why they switched it up to make it a little bit more like more so you can hear him.
Yeah. So to be honest, I don't know like how to. Maybe it's also because I'm a foreigner in the way that English is my second language. Like I have learned it, and in my education we have also learned to hear different dialects and so on. So I cannot really like I'm already adjusting no matter what dialect you're giving to me, like, or accent. It's kind of like I have already used to hear different kind of English. Of course, in Finland, the most we hear is like American English, then it's British English. But I don't think in Finland people didn't saw it too much, like, not so hard to catch. But maybe it's just because of the subtitles. And of course, I've heard his voice so many times that I can remember the lines even.
Can you do an impression?
So, but that's something that maybe is a little bit different as someone who has English as their mother language, and as someone who can,
it's my first. It's my first language, but I didn't even know how to speak it either.
But
So.
yeah, you're kind of used to hearing English as everyday language, and especially American English, and that's one of the coolest thing that Tom Hardy actually made the way that Bane talks, like the dialect and everything. He used a lot of work to create that one also.
Yeah.
So it also shows how much he spent for a character.
Like actually playing development, what is it called? Method acting, like developing.
Yeah. Like I think Tom Hardy is not a method actor. He have said that he's not, I guess, but he's just used a lot of time to focus on the character and thinking like what this character would do.
Yeah.
Like paying attention to little details that not maybe as if you're a little bit lazier actor like Gal Gadot.
You're not wrong.
Hell no. But yeah, anyways, I just want to say that appreciate the movie because Tom Hardy is using a lot of effort to that movie.
Can I ask? Because I asked a couple. Can you do your best Bane impression?
Oh, the darkness is your ally, but you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light till I was already a man, but it was nothing to me but blood. And now all the 2 Finnish people in the line are like,
no.
Greetings for all the Finnish people, if there's any in the line.
Replay. I was gonna say thanks. I tried my impression earlier; it was pretty bad. That was good. There's.
And here you can see I've studied even the tones of his voice.
What do you say? He's like, "Let's not stand on ceremonies, Mister." Pretty bad at it. No,
he's dropping jokes everywhere, and ignorance, arrogance,
yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. As a Bane, like it's phenomenal character. Like the Bane is there to just doing the mission. He has a task he's doing. He doesn't need to even raise his voice. And yeah, funnily enough, Batman is kind of equal to him. So it's a interesting character.
Yeah.
He's toying with Batman, but with different, like Joker is doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say because I'm glad like you brought up the appreciation for like Tom Hardy's acting, his portrayal, and just the movie overall. I would kind of follow the same suit. I don't think in the moment it didn't get enough credit because it had to follow Dark Knight. And then prior to that, a couple months before it came out, Avengers came out, and I think besides The Dark Knight, Avengers became like the second movie to hit like $1 billion globally.
Yeah.
There was like this pressure for Dark Knight Rises, and then sadly, when that came out, there was that shooting in Colorado during the premiere. Apprehensive to go to the theaters, but I think overall it's like, and that's why like theaters now in the States they do premieres like the night before. It used to just be midnight. Now they do it earlier.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that it affects to the whole thing afterwards. Yeah,
I think that's why some companies shifted towards that. But I mean, I would say financially it was still a success, and I think as years go by now, I think a lot more fans are more appreciative of that work because I think it gets a lot of flack because it had to follow Dark Knight. But I'm in the same boat as you that I think I appreciate it more later on as I.
Yeah, and of course for me it was like love for the first time, but I understand many people who are saying on the comments that at the time I maybe didn't understand it that well because of course you see it once and then you just see the main plot. Like you know the Studio Ghibli's new movie Boy and the Heron. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like at the first time when you're watching it, you're like, okay, but then the second time you're kind of like, okay, now I kind of understand what this is about. Yeah. And that's even hardcore movie and more philosophical in a way. But yeah, I think for many people, because of the Dark Knight, they didn't appreciate the Dark Knight Rises as much. But years later, they have come back to it and be like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still see people at conventions, still doing Bane cosplays. So it's like it's had its influence.
And if everyone is thinking, I'm also a huge fan of Hatsune Miku, and it was kind of like a weird headcanon, maybe with my friend and my sister or something. I really don't remember where the Hatsune Bane. Maybe it was because my sister and my friend, they knew that I have two obsessions. It's Hatsune Miku and Bane. And I don't know who said it aloud that you have to do Hatsune Bane. And that was the reason for me doing the cosplay
Yeah,
of
that's pretty
Hatsune Bane.
cool.
I do have a tattoo of Hatsune Miku already. Now I just, at some point, I think I need Bane tattoo at some times. I've been thinking about it already, and now it has been 13 years. So
Yeah, you should, and then fuse both of them. Do a third tattoo of both.
yeah. Yeah, I even have because I said I'm a tattoo artist. I already have a few colleagues in my mind who could do the Bane for me, but yeah, maybe in a few years you will see in my Instagram me having a Bane tattoo finally.
Which is a nice segue, because I was going to say, as we close down here, where can we find you? Your Instagram handles?
Yeah, Instagram is the
DeviantArt, whatever.
Yeah, right now I'm mostly on Instagram. I'm hopefully gonna have website at some point because, like I said, I'm a tattoo artist. I've been an entrepreneur now, just like of course I was a long apprentice, and now I'm a tattoo artist. I've been entrepreneur over and half a year now. So my main account in Instagram is Ellen Ariana, or Ellen_Ariana. And then from there, or if you want to look it separately, ellenariana.tattoos is my tattoo account. And they are connected. So if you find another one, you will find the other one too. But like the other one is just specifically for my tattoos, and of course the tattoo info and everything. If you ever come to Finland, Helsinki, the main capital, I'm working there. So you can book times for me also and see all the info from the Instagram and my works. And the main account is just me, because I love to do different Japanese fashion styles, cosplay. I like to draw, and all my everyday life. That's the main account about. So unfortunately, some Finnish. I try to use English quite a lot in both of the accounts because I know I also have English speaking followers. So I try my best to, and I of course answer also in English if someone wants to ask anything in English. But of course, some Finnish Duolingo coming up in there too.
Well, also, I mean, if you do post in Finnish, there's also the C translation part on Instagram, so they can also still read it. And I guess it won't 100% translate to English, but you'll kind of get a gist of what you're saying in there.
Yeah, and especially in my tattoo account, I try to put like the main info also in English. So of course, all the small things I sometimes just put like in Finnish, but of course, like like booking info, main info, or like main description of tattoo, like this is Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro, like these kind of things. I usually put also in English because I know that there's always, even in Finland, we have a lot of people, even some of my colleagues are English speaking. So that's why I of course love to also do things in English.
Yeah. Which I'll also I'll make sure to throw your links to your social media in the description. Also, real quick, want to say thanks to Omar V. He said, literally just watched Dark Knight Rises on Netflix the other day, and yeah, I agree, it's a lot better than what I originally remembered. Agreed.
Yay!
Cool. And
someone else is also appreciating.
Yeah, and if you catch the replay, be sure to check out Ellen Ariana's work. It's awesome, and also her tattoo page as well. Be sure to follow it. Thank you again, and
thank you very much.
We'll have to do it again this time. We can talk Pokemon or something.
Yes. So tell us if you want to have, and of course, what kind of topic Pokemon we're gonna talk about.
The 5 best.
Yeah, for me, Pokemon is mainly, if anyone wants to know, mainly through the games. So, and also as my tattoo work. So it would be nice to talk about the games and the tattoo works and related to Pokemon. It would be nice to talk about those things in the future.
Yeah, a lot of different artist interpretations through like the trading card games too have been really nice. So we have to explore. But yes, I know it's getting late over there, so thank you again for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all that came through, and also catching the replay. Be sure to follow Ariana. Everyone have a good afternoon or good night.
Yes.
Peace.
Moi moi. See ya.